Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Proud to be hanging out here with you inside of the Cafe Kubal studios every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Appreciate you being here, hanging out with us where sports meets that thing called life here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com as well as mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, Facebook.com/livenowdt, and on YouTube.com/wakeupcalldt. So, back inside of the Cafe Kubal studios here after our beautiful and wonderful holiday. I hope you had yourselves a fantastic Thanksgiving. Wake Up Call had a dual show yesterday. The show was split in two. We did a broadcast going into John Wildhack's press conference on Dino, and we did one coming out of John Wildhack's press conference on Dino Babers. So able to do those both to really give you my thoughts and my feelings and some factual information going in, and then give you thoughts coming out on what he had to say and just what the ultimate just my thought process was after I heard what he had to say and kind of went through the information as to the why he's keeping Dino Babers and so much more. So, with that being said, inside of Mon Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factories, what's poppin'? We have Rob Drummond up here first to speak on the decision to keep Dino and John Wildhack's words. Steven Clark to come on the show to do the same thing, former D lineman for the team. And then Tyler Roberson in hour number 2 will join us to talk about Jim Boeheim, 3 Boeheims on one team, as well as the transfer portal and name, image, and likeness before we round out today's show with the ingredients to success, proudly brought to you by Avicolli's. With that being said, Mr. Drummond, how we doing today?
What's going on, kid? How you doing?
I'm doing well, man, and you know, and I know that this, you and I have had a conversation about a lot of different things when it comes to this team, when it comes to the last 6 years under Dino Babers. What's going through your mind right now?
Pretty much, nothing. The status quo. I didn't expect anything to change. Just Babers is going to do what Babers does. The university is going to do what the university does, and the people are going to suffer.
When we hear, there's going to be a year 7 that they believe, John Wildhack had spoken about 2 things predominantly. Those 2 things that he spoke about that he was happy about was the running attack and the defense. So he wanted to keep Tony White as the defensive coordinator, and he wanted to keep the offensive line coach Mike Schmidt. Those were important pieces. When I spoke to him about why he kept Dino, he focused on those 2 areas and those 2 coaches. What are your thoughts on that being what seems to be a heavy reason why he stayed with Dino?
It's deeper than that. The offensive line and defense and running back aren't the reasons are half full, half capacity, not even half capacity. It's deeper than that. Even coming out of you can say, well, coming out of COVID and the restrictions they had on a football field, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. Other teams have had the exact same circumstances, have been at full capacity. And so what is it? I said something to someone the other day, and it struck me as interesting. During our run in 1987 as a great Syracuse football team, people could cheer. The people of Syracuse, the 315 that we're proud of, could actually cheer for one of their own. Someone who they could relate to. Someone who they said in the community all the time. Someone who's a local kid. Me. I'm a local kid. We're born here. Then you see the same thing with Schrady's, you relate to, the same thing with Tim Green they relate to, Chris Gedney, Chris Ingram. I could go on and on and on about the local kids. They're not even local kids. Donnie McPherson, from Hempstead, Rob Moore, Hempstead, Daryl Johnson, Lewis and Porter. On and on and on. The whole New Jersey, the New Jersey, the Connecticut, and the Pennsylvania quarter for Syracuse recruiting is huge because you get guys now whose families are within, let's just say, 5-6 miles of time of driving, and always used to fill the parking lots for tailgating, used to fill the dome for games. Granted, we were a good team, but it gives those kids and it gives the people and the fans somewhere to relate to rather than just going to a game and just cheering for a number or cheering for a name. That takes the pageantry out of the game. And until they get that, until they understand that, because they don't have the fans right now, and you know that. Dino Babers and the rest of the Syracuse contingent does not have the school right now. They have no relationship with the city of Syracuse right now, and man, this shows. But hey, I tried to tell them that years ago. I tried to explain that years ago. It fell on deaf ears. So now you get what you deserve, and you know what? That's not my fault, not my problem. Eventually, Syracuse will rise again, and I'll be here when it rises. You know, I always cheer my Orange. You had enough, you know.
Yeah, you know, sitting here with Rob Drummond this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Kubal Studios. Rob, an alum of Syracuse's football program here. Rob, I mean, when we look back on this, you know, at the beginning of this season, something happened that you thought was strange and that was an odd occurrence and that I thought was strange and an odd occurrence, and that's the fact that you, as well as a bunch of other alumni, were welcomed back to the school. And we're welcome to be there. We're welcome to be around the team. We're welcome to see Dino. Bring me back into that moment, because since that moment, nothing ever materialized.
No, I mean, it was interesting. I mean, I thought at the start of the season, I thought at least in year 6, they were actually going to, for the first time, try something to integrate with the former players and, you know, have us be a part of the tradition that we built. You know, so I was like, you know, all right, maybe they're making a step in the right direction to it, and I'll get it. Now, granted, in year 6, at least we're trying to make an attempt and try. Then I said to myself as the day went on, you know, and how there was really no interaction with us, everything was the status quo. I was like, nope, it'll still be the same old thing. No recruiting local kids. You know, this is just a photo op for us players coming back so they can say blah, blah, blah. We're doing things with the alumni now. Other than talking to Dan Maddox, I've had 0 conversations or contact with anybody in the Syracuse University staff except Dion Maddox, who's doing a great job, by the way, I should say.
You know, and what can you say about what Dion Maddox is doing? I mean, he's an alum of the program. He has been brought on to try and build a bridge. What do you think he has tried to do to accomplish? Since Dino doesn't allow us to talk to any of the assistant coaches or anybody on the staff, I have to go to you to ask you, what do you think Dion has done?
He's trying. You know, he's reaching out to the alumni, whether it be through Facebook, whether it be through a social platform, or giving a call or email. I mean, he's at least trying. We're trying to help him as much as we can, but you know, as you said, I mean, like, someone who's handcuffed can only do so much. You throw a handcuffed man, you know, in a swimming pool, and he'll swim for a long time, but you know, he's got something going against him. Dion Maddox has something going against him, and that's just Baber, who seems to fight him maybe tooth and nail for everything he tries to do, because, as I said before, if you can't win a city, how the hell are you going to win games to please them? You know,
right?
Win the city first, and Coach Mack understood that. Coach Mack did not only win the city of Syracuse, he won the East. Coach Mack was super popular, you know, and Coach Mack knew how to recruit local kids. We're going to give him 150% every single practice, because they have family and friends just sitting there just cheering for him within striking distance of getting into him if they need him. These kids are from Florida, from Maryland, from Texas, from all over. And that's all well and good, but that experiment is not working. In 6 seasons, Dino Babers has 1 winning season, 1 in 6. Paul Pasqualoni had 1 losing season, and 2 of his seasons he went 500, and he was fired for the 2 seasons he went 500, 6 and 6. What they were trying to accomplish this year, if you ever go to a bowl game, Paul Pasqualoni was fired for going 2 years in a row. What changed?
Yeah, you know, and that's the thing, and I say that all the time. What you want, what you desire Dino to get to is what you fired Paul Pasqualoni for getting to. What's Dino's success was Paul Pasqualoni's exit door. You know, I mean, it doesn't make sense to me how under Paul Pasqualoni, if you went 6 and 6, it was mediocrity. But if you do it under Dino, then you keep him as a coach. And then when you don't do it, and you know, one of the arguments that John Wildhack made, the director of athletics at Syracuse, is he said, look at the rest of the ACC. He said 7 out of 14 ACC teams, half of the ACC, is 5 and 7 or 6 and 6. And I sat there and I said to myself, so one of his reasons for keeping Dino and being okay with this year is the fact, not necessarily okay with this year, but one of his reasons for keeping Dino is the fact that other teams suck. So it was almost like saying, you know, hey, Syracuse is mediocre, but half the ACC is mediocre. So this year you can't really fault us because we were in the pool with 7 other people. Well, if half of the ACC is in a pool filled with water and the other half of the ACC is in a pool filled with lard, and you say, hey, well, at least we're not the only one in the pool. There's 6 other teams sitting in here with lard. I mean, I just don't understand how an argument of keeping your coach is, hey, half of the conference sucks, so don't be mad at us.
That's not a winning attitude. That's an attitude of being content, and that creates a losing program. Trust me. I mean, I'm at the point where it doesn't matter what I say anymore because they don't listen, and it's going to fall on deaf ears, and it's going to have to repeat this. I'll be saying the same thing next year when they don't go through a bowl game. Sean Tucker probably transfers. You know, the running game is still going to be pretty good, but people have figured it out this year now, so they're going to stack the box even more because we can't throw. It's not, it doesn't take rocket science or somebody a genius in football to see that we're one-dimensional because we can't throw. Pittsburgh just stacked the box and told us you're going to be the Schrader, and he can't. He has proven he can't do it with his arm. So unless I get a quarterback, I can help Derek Schrader just mentally. From a standpoint of being able to go out there and tell him what he looks through, tell him where to throw the ball, how to place it, how to turn his hips more. I've sat there and watched him. It's like a Power 5 team that doesn't have a special teams coach. When special teams is 1/3 of the game,
yeah.
You have offense, you have defense, you have special team. 3 aspects that you need to win a football game. And they don't have a coach for one of those aspects. I mean, I understand everything I need to understand. Special teams is costing some momentum and some points and some valuable, cushion in football games. And it shows. And you think you would sign someone to at least oversee that, but nope. So it just tells me they're very, very content with where they are right now. It doesn't seem like they're trying to get better.
No, it doesn't. And, to see this the way that I see it right now, my frustration lies in a lot of different things. And one of them you brought up, your special teams was the worst part of this team this entire year, and you don't have a special teams coordinator. You don't have one. You don't hire one. You don't, I don't know, figure something out on how do you go an entire season? And like you said, not only as a team, but as a Power 5 team, allegedly, how do you go an entire season without a special teams coordinator when that's, like you said, when that's 1/3 of the game? It doesn't make any sense to me how you do that. And I will never forget what Dino said, because to me it was funny. It wasn't meant to be funny, but it was funny. When Dino said, when they're like, why did you bring that backup punter out there for that play? And he's like, well, you don't understand. He does specialty punts. And I said, yeah, punting the ball 8 yards, I guess, is a specialty punt. It doesn't make any sense to me. The writing's on the wall, Rob, and I said this yesterday. You don't connect with the alumni. There's alumni that want to donate money and all they want is a phone call, and you won't give them a phone call. You don't recruit locally. You don't allow media to come to practice. You don't allow your assistant coaches to talk to anybody. You don't allow your assistant coaches to be in the media. You cannot keep a staff together from season to season. You claim that New York talent isn't good enough. I mean, you didn't know who Sean Tucker was. He was a happy accident because he was your 4th-string running back and would have never played if not for COVID. So I'm looking at all this stuff and I'm saying to myself, and you don't have a special teams coordinator when you go into the season, which shows me that you don't have the network because you ran out of ideas. You couldn't hire anybody. There's nobody out there that wants a coaching job. There's literally every coach was taken. So, I mean, it just says something to me about this entire program when I'm looking at the Dino Babers era and I'm seeing no connection to the community, no connection to the local kids, no connection to the alumni. No coaches either get fired or they leave. They don't want to stay or they do stay and they end up getting fired. I'm not seeing anything that's telling me, hey, this is a really good... You know what, Rob? If this wasn't a football team and this was any old business, I would tell you this is a bad working environment. That's what I would say.
It is. And I can tell you that just from the outside looking in, having been a part of the inside. There's a reason, and I was thinking about this a couple of days ago before this announcement about Dino Babers staying even happened. I was saying to myself, it's like, you know what, Michael Jackson State hiring Deion Sanders, or Nick Saban, or Urban Meyer, or a high profile name, either a high profile name or a former athlete or a local kid that's coached there and played there before. Why do you think universities and colleges and universities hire people of that magnitude? Fans draw. Yeah. They get it. It's a fan draw. So as a coach, as soon as you get there, get out of the community, get your players out of the community, have a relationship with the community. Now you build up on top of that. Now you start going there, start talking to high schools, getting acquainted with the high schools, getting acquainted with some people in the city, going to more places. I mean, I hear stories about when Coach Mack would be all places over the town. Oh, wow, what a great guy. Coach Mack would take the time to talk to everybody, to get to know him. He understood about building community trust, a relationship with the community, having a relationship with his players and the community. So when you come to games, you're just not cheering their, wins, losses. You're cheering for a special, one of your special players, my favorite player. People don't even say I have my favorite player anymore. They probably say I have Sean Tucker, but like I said, I'm a former Syracuse University running back myself. And I mean, other than seeing him in practice, one of your special players, sit there, talk or speak to Sean Tucker. And I was after practice the first day.
Yeah.
Still never met the young man one-on-one, sitting there talking about him. I was like, young man, I can tell you a lot about, going further in life, because I played 15 years professional. But I guess that's not good enough to be able to come around and be around your players, So, like I said, I'll keep my distance. I'll keep doing what I need to do, Babers' win or loss is not going to hurt my legacy at Syracuse. I'll always be a Syracuse legend. Not only will I be a Syracuse legend, I'm a local kid that made it. What better segue you could have for a kid to talk to someone like myself that could bring them into the community, see other people, see what the city of Syracuse is like, see what a winning tradition of Syracuse is like, and how not to get your head down, how when you speak with media, certain things to say. And it's funny, I saw Sean Tucker give an interview right after the game, then his comments about how frustrated he was, like during the game, afterwards when things weren't going well. And I see he had 29 yards. I'm not worried about the 29 yards rushing. That's going to happen. Once teams start really, really keying him, that's going to happen a lot more next year because we don't have the tools to be able to open things up for him. A quarterback, they can throw it over the head of the defense so they can stack the box. But the thing that was more concerning with me is that most kids will keep things to themselves like that when they get frustrated and they don't see things going along well with the coach, or they'll say it to their parents. But he became public with it, that he wasn't happy with the thing that was going on and wish it could have been a lot different. That's telling. That's very, very telling. And even in that interview, it's like it was monotone. It was short. Maybe he was frustrated, about after the game and things went on, but maybe that nature. But I read a lot more deeply into it because I've been in the same situation myself.
Yeah,
and he was not happy.
No, and I sent you, I tagged you in that interview because I was the one that was talking to him after the game. I was one of the couple people that was there. There's about three of us that were talking to him, and my one-on-one with him was about, what he's done, what he's accomplished, single season record above every running back in the history of Syracuse football. Yourself, Ernie Davis, Floyd Little, Jim Brown, Joe Morris, Larry Zonka, and so on and so forth. And, I asked him about number 44, and he said, I'm not going to wear it. And he didn't even look amused by it. He was like, I'm not going to wear it. I said, why? He said, because, he's like, his thing is, and I'm paraphrasing, you can go back and watch the video on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, my conversation with Sean Tucker. But him and I were talking about it, and he said, he's like, I want to make 34 something. Now 34 is going to be remembered forever. And he's like, I got to think about changing my number. I'm not going to wear it. I won't, like he said, he's not wearing it. He's not wearing it if they offer it to him. He's staying 34. He made history wearing his number, and that's something that means something to him.
It was just like New York City song. He did it his way.
Yeah.
Why are they trying to so badly make Sean Tucker a 44 something that he'll have to be associated with now every time he comes to school? No one wants that. He wants to be associated by himself. Sean Tucker will stand up by himself when they hang his jersey after the Raptors there one day. Just like Joe Morris is 47, Larry Zonka is 39, Don McPherson is 9, Donovan McNabb is 5. I can go on and on and on. Those guys all set a precedent for themselves. Yeah. And I think standing out, to me, after the fact is a lot better than standing in the crowd, after that fact. I mean, I just see more to it than that. Make a name for yourself coming in, and that's what he's did. Young man's done a great job doing it. I give him all the credit in the world, but it's going to get to the point where, I was telling someone the other day, put yourself in Sean Tucker's, in a position. What more can you at Syracuse, that'll benefit you going forward?
Yeah.
There's nothing more he can do here. What, get records? At this point, it's like, young man, all right, now you can get a college national championship.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the
team you
thing.
go to, like the NFL scouts, you're on the NFL scouts radar.
Yeah.
So now put yourself in a position to best be successful. And I'm telling you, sorry to say, but it ain't Syracuse. Because without a throwing quarterback, they're going to stack their box and watch. Watch next year's. Give these schools a year to figure out Syracuse cannot throw the ball, and watch them stack the box next year. My gosh!
And the thing is, with everybody transferring out, with Aaron Service, who's played almost every single position on the offensive line, he's done. When you look at where things are right now for Syracuse, you're losing your entire defensive line. You're losing your backups on your defensive line. You're losing one of your linebackers. You're losing your kicker, who won the nation's top kicker award. You're losing, you've already lost your number one receiver. I mean, Syracuse, you're losing a backup quarterback. You could lose more backup quarterbacks. Syracuse is in a place right now where they don't have a lot of recruits that have committed. They have a lot of people leaving. So let's say you got 20 some odd open spots. Half of those are filled with recruits. Now you got as many of those leaving. So now you got to fill 30 spots, but you only got 10 players committed. I mean, Syracuse right now on paper is setting up to have another season where they win 3, 4, 5 games.
Yeah, no kidding. I can tell you that. I mean, my thing is, okay, now let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If Sean Tucker was from the city of Syracuse, like myself, or like a Latavius Murray, or like a Mike Hart, guys in the past who went to different schools, but I'm just saying, like local kids.
Yeah.
Do you think he would be talking about the transfer portal?
No, I mean, if Sean Tucker, to me, if he came from Syracuse, this would mean the world to him. I mean, I have never in my life.
You hit the nail on the head, bro.
I've never in my life ever anticipated. I've anticipated this if it's Oklahoma, if it's USC, if it's Texas. You got some egos. You got some 5 stars. With 5 stars comes some ego and stuff. But for Sean Tucker to say, after every game he puts up a post, hey, this is the score of the game, this is what I did right, this is what I want to work on. He wrote, and I quote, "We lost our game, Pitt 31, Syracuse 14. I'm not pleased with the outcome of the game or the play calling. I wanted to do so much more, but I don't call the plays. Good luck to all the seniors moving on." I mean, normally he says, I ran for this many yards, I did this right, I did this where I could have been better. He said flat out, I'm not pleased with the outcome of the game, I'm not pleased with the play calling. Then he hits the play calling again, and then he says, good luck to the seniors. I mean, you don't have to read between the lines of this post.
No. You don't have to. That's what I'm saying. If he's from the city of Syracuse, no way he leaves.
Yeah.
Because of my love for the city of Syracuse, I didn't transfer after my freshman year. But a lot of people don't know that. I almost transferred to Penn State because I wasn't happy with being moved to wide receiver and blah, blah, blah. But you know what? I just loved Syracuse too much, and it wasn't just a university at the time. I mean, granted, I did love football, but I wasn't playing what I wanted to play. And we had a rough year that year once they moved to receiver, but it was because of my family was here. The media could always have access to us. The family could always see us practice. Practices weren't closed, and Coach Mack knew how to run a team. Coach Mack knew how to manage.
Yeah.
Have the community involved with players. Coach Mack knew how to have players that you don't hear this anymore. I mean, people say, "Oh, my favorite who's your player? Who's your favorite player in the SU?" People shrug their shoulders like, "I barely know any player. I only probably know 2."
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Well, everybody's favorite player is Sean Tucker, and Sean Tucker he's not happy. And this is the thing about Sean Tucker, and you hit the nail on the head. If I'm Sean Tucker, I just passed Joe Morris's 1,327 yards, whatever, 1,327, I believe. So I just passed Joe Morris. I'm now the single season leading back in the history of Syracuse. That record had not been broken for 42 years. I'm not on Heisman Watch. I'm not a finalist for any top award. I'm not a finalist for a nation's top player. I'm not a finalist for a nation's top running back. So at Syracuse, I set a record. I got 2,000 yards from scrimmage pretty much, and the majority of those are on the ground. I have 12 touchdowns, and they're not talking about me for Heisman. They're not saying I'm the best running back in the country. Why? Because I go to Syracuse. So if I set this record here and I did this here, and I will forever be etched in the history here, and they can put my number 34 in the rafters here, then why don't I go somewhere else with my 3 years? Because he was a freshman this year. Due to COVID, he had 2 freshman years. So now that he has 3 seasons of eligibility, why not go somewhere else where he can run, have a chance at going to a bowl game, a good bowl game, a college football playoff game, and have more NFL scouts and have more consistency of those scouts coming to the games, be in front of more fans, be around more people, get your name out there more, and if you go to a different school, you have the opportunity. Like if he was at Oklahoma right now, he'd be a Heisman finalist. If he was at Ohio State right now, he'd be a Heisman finalist. I'm not saying that he's going to go to those schools, but I'm saying if I'm Sean Tucker, I'm not going to win a Heisman here, and I know Ernie Davis did it, a million years ago, but where the program is now, there's no focus. I'm not going to win a Heisman here. I'm not going to be a top draft pick here. I'm not going to be the nation's top running back here. I'm not getting the exposure here. I'm not going to bowl games here. I'm not going to the college football playoff here. What Sean Tucker has done for Syracuse has given them something that they haven't had in 42 years. But what has Syracuse's football program given to Sean Tucker? That's the question. You got to think about that. And fans, I know the fans are mad at me right now probably for saying this, but I'm not saying you guys. I'm not saying you, the fans. I'm saying look at what Sean Tucker gave to this program. What is this program giving to him? He is not going to better his life being here. You have to be unselfish in looking at this. What is Syracuse's selling point to Sean Tucker for next season? That's my question.
I'm saying, why are you apologizing to fans for the truth? It's true. I mean, I said, put yourself in Sean Tucker's shoes. He's given Syracuse everything. It's just like you said. I mean, the man deserves to be on the watch list for a lot of those things, but he's not.
Yeah,
and it's because he goes to Syracuse. I mean, the NFL, he's already on the radar of the NFL scouts. So a kid aspiring who could possibly have a chance to go play for a national championship, play on nationally ranked teams every single day, have even more exposure. Why wouldn't he go? He's not a local kid, so he has no ties to keep him here. But Sean Tucker probably leaves Syracuse. I'll put it this way: he'll probably never come back.
Yeah,
he's not a local kid, so why would he come back? I mean, he may come back for events, once a year, twice a year, But someone like myself moved back here and live here. Someone like Scott Schwades moved back here and live here. Someone like Tim Green moved back here and lived here. Someone like Chris Gedney moved back here and lived here. For a while, someone like Will Allen moved back here and lived here. All local kids in Syracuse, all did well, all made the NFL. And all moved back to live in Syracuse.
Yeah. Yeah, and
very few, if any, other SU athletes not from here move back here and stay when their career is over or to do things with the community. Yeah. That's the community love that some of these kids have for Syracuse, that they'd give them 150% every single time they just recruited them. I like what they did with the young kid out of CVA and offer him as a freshman early on, things of that nature. But look how much that even died down, Oh
yeah, I mean, Sire Torrance. To reach out to him, and does that have to do with the fact that Symir's on the basketball team? I mean, it's ridiculous to me. And then Sire went out into the Dome, and guess what? He had more awesome plays in the Section 3 Class A championship game than I've seen in the Dome all season. Outside of Sean Tucker, he had 3 touchdown grabs that were insane, and I'm watching this kid going, man, he ain't gonna come here. I mean, that's just.
But then again, why would he? Why would I come to a school with a quarterback that can't throw? I mean, think of the logic. If I'm aspiring to possibly go to the next level one day, I want a quarterback that can throw a deep, throw a short route. Okay, that's what I need. Garrett Trader, great kid, hard. I mean, he has a heart of Eric Dungy, but the young man needs to work on his mechanics throwing the football farther than 10, 15, 20 yards, and he can't right now. So why as a receiver would I come here and put myself in a situation and even from CBA, with even LeVar Abdel, who was a talented receiver coming out of CBA, he just never had the right fit here at Syracuse, Super athlete, just never got into the right fit with Syracuse during his days here, So I mean, and he's probably talking to LeVar also, because LeVar's an alumni from CBA. So I always try and put these kids in the best position for them to be successful in life. And right now, at this moment, Syracuse is not a good fit on a CBA to come play receiver here. And that's just me being honest and being the truth. People can get mad at me. I really don't care. But you know what? I mean, I don't live in a fantasy world. I live in a real world of someone who actually played 4 years at Syracuse, who actually played 15 years professional sport. So I know what these guys are going through mentally. I know what they're trying to do, just to better themselves as athletes and move going forward. You got to remember, these are young adolescents. These are young adults, 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. So, they're trying to figure out life as they go along, and they want to put themselves in the best position to be successful. And it just seems like they're coming to Syracuse is not putting yourself in the best position to be successful, where you have alumni out there who have done everything these kids are trying to do, waiting to talk to them, waiting to have a relationship with them, waiting to just tell them, keep their heads up. We have no access to them. That's not going to ruin us. It's not going to hurt us. We've already accomplished the great things. You can already always go back and look at our 1988 season where we went 10-2 and played in the Hall of Fame Bowl. Look at our 1987 season where we went undefeated, played in the Sugar Bowl. The year after us, 2000, they played in the Peach Bowl against Georgia, another SEC team. You can look back and see the success of those teams like that and the players that have produced out of there. Someone like a Donnie McPherson, who was a Heisman Trophy runner-up, myself, third-round draft trade, Daryl Moose Johnson, who will be a Ring of Fame in the Hall of with the Dallas Cowboys. Was on that team, second round to the Dallas Cowboys. Tommy Kane, third round to the Seattle Seahawks. Rob Moore, first-round supplemental draft to the New York Jets. I mean, on and on and on and on with the athletes drafted. And the athletes were successful in football and things of that nature. How could that hurt having these guys sit down, having one-on-ones or even group sessions with a group of young men you have there as a head coach?
Yeah, it doesn't.
How could that hurt?
It doesn't. It doesn't. What I've realized about Syracuse is if it makes sense, it's not going to happen. So, I mean,
I say that all the time.
If it makes sense, it's not going to happen. So, I mean, that's reality. But you know what? Sean Tucker, Rob in my door is always open. Garrett Schrader, Rob in my door is always open. Marlo Wax, Rob in my door is always open. I mean, we have tried and we will continue to do everything we can to support and uplift this community and help this community and be there for this community because you and I love it. But, Rob, to your point, we were both born here. So,
I mean, I say I'll never stop trying to give those kids the best advice I possibly can. If needed. But as a man, as a human being, as someone who built that dome, we built the camaraderie. I'm not going to sit here and try and break down walls and go to a place where I'm not wanted.
Yeah.
Why would I? It's not me trying to help Syracuse right now is not going to change who I am and what I accomplished up there. That's in stone. That's history. I can make a difference now, but it's not going to change who I am.
Yeah, and hopefully, somehow, some way, common sense wins the day. For that,
that's a problem again. We keep saying hopefully.
Yeah.
This is year 7.
Yeah.
At what point does hopefully become? You got to be kidding me! I'm already past the point of. I've had enough already. Done. I've had enough. I really have.
Yeah. I've had enough.
Enough of waiting for someone to do the right thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I've had enough of closed practices and DEFCON 5 and lock down the building and it's
the same thing every year with the same results.
Yeah. Definition of insanity.
Yep.
Rob Drummond, Syracuse Orange alum. Rob, as always, brother, I love you, and Lord knows there's more to be said and more to be had. Rob and I will be coming to you in a restaurant near you because I know that you and I are going to have more thoughts, but we probably should do it over a drink. So,
fine with me.
All right, brother, I'll talk to you soon. Be good.
All right, Dan, you too, good.
All right, take care. That coming from Rob Drummond here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. We've run into our time to speak with Steven Clark here inside of Mon Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factories. What's poppin'? We'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we'll do exactly that and have Steven Clark here on the show. Thank you for your patience. He'll be with us right after this fast break.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether You want Dasher, Carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream? We will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvalite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Hanging out with you inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is live for you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We appreciate you ad-libbing with us yesterday as the John Wildhack press conference was smack dab in the middle of my show, so we did a broadcast going in and a broadcast coming out of that press conference. Don't miss a second of those. Those are available to you on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, and of course they'll be added to youtube.com/Wake Up Call DT as well. So with that being said, from inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios with locations all throughout Central and Upstate New York, it's time to get to our second guest of the day inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', and that is Mr. Steven Clark. Played on the D line for Syracuse and then moved on to Western Michigan. He's here with us right now to give his take on the current state of Syracuse. Steven, how are we doing today?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Doing very well. And, and I got to bring up something that I said to you off the air, that the media is not allowed in practice. And I've never said this before, but I wanted to say it on the air because I liked it. I was like, do they have a dragon? You know what I mean? Like, is there something at practice that we can't see? They're like, hey, if you let them all into practice, they're going to see that we have Daenerys here, and they're going to see that she, rides around, and when the offense is getting real good at stuff, and Schrader's running around, she yells Dracarys, and she just puts, a line of fire. I mean, unless they have a dragon or the Loch Ness Monster is at the Ensley Center, I don't understand. Or maybe, Area 51 was relocated to one of the water towers by Manly. I don't understand what we're hiding.
Yeah, it's different. I know. I mean, I was only there for a year with Coach Babers, and again, I still have a lot of respect for him just for what he did for me personally, and in terms of all that situation that went on. Yeah. But I know when it's the first time that he was there, one of the first meetings that he went to, he made the comment that this was a La Familia Ohana, his famous sayings. That he doesn't want anyone on the outside to really know what we're doing in here because it's none of their business, right? And that was kind of his message, and that's kind of what stuck with me when he said that. Now I know most FBS programs, they have certain periods, right, where they have the reporters are able to go in and take pictures and video and just stuff like that, just to see how the team's doing and progress and all that kind of stuff. And that's the normal, right? And so, it is weird, and I can definitely see how it's a little concerning to people on the outside not being able to really see what's going on, especially with certain alumni and all that kind of stuff that don't know what's happening, right? And being left out of the loop, especially if you want them to to donate and then help with anything that they need and all that. So it's tough, and I haven't talked to Coach Babers in a minute, but it's one of those things where that was one of his big things when he was first there. I guess he kind of stuck with it throughout his time there.
Yeah, and I mean, it just, for me, what confuses me is why. You know what I mean? Why hide? Why? It's kind of like the Wizard of Oz, is that nobody can see that I'm just a guy standing behind a curtain on a microphone. I mean, and that's the thing is, we already see it. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I can't show anybody anything, and then I look at the last few seasons and I say, okay, maybe you didn't want to show it to us because this is as bad as it looked. I mean, it's just there's no logic to hiding it. And when you have a program that's doing so poorly and you don't have reporters able to comment on anything going on in practice, if I was a team that consistently lost, that was 29-43 under my current head coach, 19-40 outside of that one season where he did it with a lot of Schaefer's players, if that was my placement, I'd be hoping that media would show up. I'd be thinking about the other end of it, like, does anybody want to cover me? And I would let them in, and no, I'm not going to let them, into private meetings, but I'm going to let you come to practice. See, here's the thing. My thing on practice is I'm a student of the game. I mean, you know me. I come to practice, and I used to write a camp notebook, and I would just sit there, and I would just watch, and I just take I'd take like 7 pages of notes. I'd sift through them. I'd circle stuff. I'd think about this. I'd put this in my back pocket. I'd say, these are the guys I want to watch because I think these guys could be starters. Like, I utilized it as a way to learn. I didn't use it to give up anything. I didn't use it to say that anybody was injured or give a competitive advantage. I literally sat in practice with a notebook, almost like I was drawing a picture. And I just love the art of the dance, so to speak. So, I mean, what I miss the most is I can't see Steven Clark mature from year 1 to year 2 to year 3 because I'm not there. So I can't tell people if you should be starting or if you're starting because there's nobody else there.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I could see, the first year when he's first there, no one in the AC really knows what he's going to be doing. I could see him not wanting reporters, but now it's like, I want all the attention that I can get, mostly because it's going to help with recruiting. It's going to help with, just marketing the brand, because for me, I fell in love with Syracuse when I visited it. And that was one of the biggest sell points for Syracuse for me, but also for the coaches as well. And once the coaches that I was recruited with, once they got fired, I had to learn a whole new system and all that kind of stuff and just going through that. But, it's the marketing, and really I think it'd be a lot better for them to open up at least a little bit of practice, just to let more players that they want to recruit know what's going on, know how they're going to practice, just understand the dynamics of what college football is all about. Because honestly, a lot of high school kids don't really know. Just speaking from experience, and I was a first year high school, or first year really college student in my family that ever went to college for sports, and a lot of them never really taught me how to or what I was really looking for in college sports. And that's one of the big things that I think would help with the marketing brand as well, but also just being able, especially for reporters, to figure out, who's to look for. And also, honestly, it kind of strokes the ego a little bit of some of the players that might need to pick me up, especially during fall camp, which is one of the hardest times of the season for young athletes, especially freshmen, just being able to read about, themselves from reporters saying, oh, he did this really good today. Oh, he needs to work on this. It's just certain things that I think would be beneficial, really in the long run for having open practice for a little bit. It's definitely not a common thing to have closed practices every time. Now, it does happen from time to time from other places, but to have it every practice is closed to the media, it is strange.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And the thing is, what are you hiding? Like, we've seen it all. It's been 6 years. I mean, you put everything on film. We see it. Like I said, unless you have a pet dragon, is Jurassic Park somewhere behind the trees at Manly? I mean,
exactly. There's really nothing that is hidden anymore. Playbooks is out. And what's come to light is you need a quarterback that can throw the ball, because if you want to throw the ball to open up the run for Sean Tucker, you need someone that can throw the ball. And I do like Schrader. I think he's a competitor. I know people call him Dungy 2.0, and I don't agree with that, because I just think Dungy was a different animal altogether. But and that's just because I was around him. I was able to play with him. The sense of just confidence that when he was on the field, when he was playing, was different. It was just different, and you could definitely tell, especially when he would get hurt, and then another quarterback, would come in, and you're just like, man, that sucks. And I feel like having those types of people on a team is rare. It's just so rare. So they definitely need a quarterback, and I know they're losing a bunch of guys to the transfer portal and just grad themselves. So that's going to hurt them the next couple of years. That's what I'm kind of focusing on right now is really seeing how this is going to play out. They're going to have to do insane numbers in recruiting, most because they're losing a lot of the D-line. I don't know how many seniors they have on D-line. Josh Black, which is one of my best friends, he's a good guy, great defensive lineman, and Roscoe, I think is his name, at the end, that was phenomenal this year. I think he earned first team All ACC, which he deserved. And other guys, McKinley Williams, he's out too. I think this is his last year. So they're losing a lot of the D-line, and a lot of the backups that I've seen, or the 2 deep that are there, are transferring out, and so it's hard. And then they just got rid of the D-line, watching earlier, and just the fact that they need all these guys to come back, honestly, and they need to recruit in order to not have another abysmal season like they did this year.
Yeah, in seeing this, this is seeing, the transfer portal for them, Cody Shear, who had allegedly was going to be transferring into Syracuse. He's transferring out of Syracuse. Landon Morris, a tight end who committed to Syracuse, tight end wide receiver. He hasn't done anything, really for Syracuse, just got there. He's heading out. Russell Thompson Bishop, who didn't get a chance at wide receiver, he's heading out. Jarvion Howard's already picked Alcorn State. Taj Harris and I spoken in exclusive. He's going to Kentucky. Tommy DeVito, quarterback, is out. Lattery Kinsler, edge rusher, he's out. Dylan Markowitz, a backup quarterback that Syracuse doesn't even know what they would have or wouldn't have had, he's out. Jeff Canton-Arcu, a linebacker who's done a lot of good work, he's out. Curtis Harper, D lineman, is out. Joe Rondi, a D lineman, is out. And here's the thing about Curtis Harper. McKinley Williams, Kingsley Jonathan, and Josh Black had all finished their eligibility on the D-line. Curtis Harper was one of the guys that could help them bridge the gap, and he's leaving. So, it's like you lose your 3 starters, plus you lose one of your backups, plus you lose Jeff Canton-Arcu right behind that back line. People don't seem to understand, and you were on the Syracuse D-line. Syracuse's defensive line took a really long time to build and almost a decade to rebuild, and now they've lost all 3 starters plus one of their dominant backups in Curtis Harper. So they essentially lost potentially 4 starters. And, that's something that's got to hit when you sit back and look at it.
It does, because honestly, in my opinion, every game is won up front. If you have a phenomenal D-line that are attacking the ball, they're stopping the run, they're getting pressure on the quarterback, and it's vital, because you honestly can't have DBs and safeties and linebackers cover for 20. It just can't happen. You have to have guys that get home, and you have to have guys that can stuff the run. And with all this, the experience that's leaving that room, it's going to be. It's going to be hard. It really is, and I do have faith that he can do it, but it's not going to be easy. And obviously, the evidence for the past 6 years hasn't shown it. And that's one of the things I was really confused with, is letting go Coach Reynolds, because in my opinion, Reynolds has built that D line. He was my second D-line coach in college, and I learned to respect him greatly, just from the knowledge that he had, but how he coached, how he could recruit, because he was a great recruiter, but honestly just how real he was too, and how good he was with actually being able to teach certain techniques to individual players that would fit them better, opposed to others. And I think that's really important on the D line is you not everyone is a pure pass rusher. You know, not everyone's a speed guy. So you have to have a second move, third move, really, to be able to counter. And he was able to teach that with me, especially for me, just for having that 1 year there with him. And now that he's gone, you know, I don't know if they're bringing in another guy or if they already have a guy there that they're just going to have him take over the full D line there. It's just it's going to be different, and that's kind of what bothers me is just the lack of inexperience and that D line and now the O line as well, because the O line is losing, you know, Aaron Service, which is, you know, one of their pillars in that O line. I mean, he's played every position on the O line. And it's going to be tough. And I know some fans want, you know, a 10-win season next year, and I don't think that happens. I hope to God it does, because I love Syracuse. I love to see them succeed. But realistically, I don't see it happening, and it's because of all the movement that's happening this offseason, and it sucks because I mean, you have to replace the guys that are leaving. But how do you replace 6 or 7 guys on D-line that have experience with new guys that either freshmen are coming in, or you need to get some JUCO guys, and that's the reality of it.
Yeah, you know, and when we look at, you know, what we have here as far as his Dino's staff and retention, Roy Wickey, Brad Wickey have been with him since the beginning. Roy, the director of player personnel, Brad, the director of ops, and then outside of that, we look at the fact that Mike Lynch, who used to be the co-offensive coordinator, he was demoted to running backs coach. He's still there. And then Nick Monroe, safety, and Nichols, coach, he's still on this team. And then Sean Edinger, who's the assistant AD, athletic performance. I mean, outside of those guys, the entire staff has changed. And normally when you hire and fire your coordinators, that's a sign potentially of, I mean, on a losing team like this isn't a winning team where guys are moving on because they're getting head coaching jobs. When you look at Dino Babers, normally what happens with a coaching staff is when you're not doing well, they go to you and say, all right, we're going to fire you. And then you go, whoa. I'll fire one of my coordinators, or I'll fire them both. And so you do that.
When that happens, they're on the hot seat, you know, and I think, honestly, it's very important for him, especially, you know, just to be able to win and get in bowl games this next year. I mean, that there has to be progress. You know, there can't be another 4 to 5 win season. It just can't happen. And that's what sucks. You know, that's the reality of it, though. And that's the reality of coaching in general. You know, coaching is a whirlwind of a profession, you know, and you have to win. You have to do good. So typically when that happens, when they start firing their coordinators, you know, they're going to be on the hot seat, which isn't, you know, it's just what happens. And I see him being on the hot seat. I think I saw Wild Hat come out and say that, you know, the buyout for his contract wasn't the problem for him retaining him. Whether or not I agree or anyone else agrees with that is you know, beside the fact that he's going to come back. And but one of the things that I also don't like, you know, they only gave Schaefer 3 years.
Yeah.
And you saw what Schaefer's recruits could do, and with that 10-win season. And it just, you know, it just baffles me, you know, that he only gave Schaefer 3 years, really. And he's given, you know, Coach Babers 6. And I love Schaefer. I still love Schaefer. You know, he was honestly one of the main reasons, him and Coach Dallas were the main reasons that I went to Syracuse, just because of the family atmosphere that they brought with it.
Yeah. But
also just how they coached. You know, it's how I grew up. It's how I was raised. The coaching that they did was just what I was used to. And I fully believed in Coach Schaefer and Coach Dallas and Coach Bull and all of them to be able to put together a team and actually win. And because the recruits that they had were there. You know, they had the recruits there to win. And then they only gave them 3 years, you know. And then it's honestly, it's hard to come in. I know Coach Schaefer was there before, but it's still hard to come in as a head coach and turn a program around, especially like Syracuse, who's had a history past and been great in the past, but it's hard to come in. You're in the ACC now and start winning important games in the ACC in 3 years. You need your guys, you need to develop them, you need to get them right, and you need to get moving. And it's hard to do. You know, in 5 to 6 years, you know, you would think Babers would have that strategy and that formula down, you know. And I think I think it's it needs to be fixed. I obviously don't want any coach to get fired because that's their livelihood. But the fans need wins, and I want to see Syracuse succeed. I want to go in the ACC championship because what annoys me is that, realistically, Syracuse could have been, 10-2 this year.
Yeah. Maybe
9-3. And I see that then they lose to Clemson by a field goal when they could have won it. Same thing with Wake Forest, who's in the ACC championship right now. It hurts, and I know it hurts more as fans too, but it hurts me especially because I played there. I bled for that team. I love that team, and seeing them get so close to the ACC championship game, it sucks because I honestly believe if they win those games, we're talking about a different season for these guys. That's what sucks.
Yeah, this team lost their first 3 ACC games by 3 points. And with a coach who didn't go for it on 4th and 2 against Wake and 4th and 1 against Clemson. There's something to be said about that, and there's something to circle about that. And so, it makes me kind of stop and really go back to those moments. How much of this was coaching, and how much? Steven, from being a player, when players are good individually, but a team is not good collectively, that's a coaching problem.
It is. It is. You can have the best player in the league, and I believe Don Tucker's the best running back in the ACC. But one player can only do so much. There's 11 guys in the field. Everyone has to do their 111th. And it's important, but if all the other guys are doing their 111th and nothing's hitting, you got to be able to adjust, especially as a coach. I really feel like making adjustments mid-game as well as during halftime, during any quarter is important. It's quintessential to be able to win games. If some team is shutting you down repeatedly on certain plays, you can't do the play anymore because it's not opened up. Why continue to do it, And that's kind of what you saw against Pitt, too. Pitt, they knew that Schrader wasn't going to be able to pass the ball on the field. They don't really have a deep threat. Now that Taj Harris is gone, they didn't really have a deep threat to really concern themselves with getting burned in the back end. And it allowed them to stack the box and pretty much shut down Tucker. And that's what sucks because you need that bounce. But if you're not getting those play calls, if you're not doing the right things that you need to do to be able to get your best player the option and the opportunity to go off, then you got to look at yourself as, okay, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah, it's seeing this situation and seeing how, like you said, do your 111th. You're talking that's another Schaefer thing. That's you speak in Schaeferisms, and I appreciate them. I've never forgotten when he said control the controllables at a press conference. I have heard that throughout my life since he said that. And this isn't like a Schaefer versus Babers thing. This is just you said it. You put the nail on the head, and I say it all the time. They gave Schaefer 3 years, 4-8, 7-6 in a bowl win. They gave him 3 years, and he wasn't good enough, and nothing he did was good enough, and his time management wasn't good enough, and he didn't use his timeouts correctly, and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm looking at 6 years going into year number 7, and I'm going, how was Schaefer any worse? And Dino won in the 10-3 season with Schaefer's recruits.
Yeah,
so,
and what gets me is honestly, because I'll be talking to other people's parents, and my parents still talk to some of the other people from Syracuse when I was there, and the atmosphere, from what I've been told, changed. Schaefer was all about the players, the families, making them, all the families, no matter who it was. Could have been a starter, could have been a guy that's on the scout team. That didn't matter.
Yeah.
As long as he made the families feel welcomed. He made a point to go out and reach out to them, ask him how he's doing. They still send me happy birthday messages all the time on my birthday and all that kind of stuff, Merry Christmas, all that. And that, in my opinion, just really defines who that whole coaching staff is, in my opinion. Yeah. And that's I think the difference, because what I've been hearing is that it's not like that now in that locker room, and that's what sucks, But I still, again, I have the utmost respect for what Coach Babers did with me, allowing me to transfer out to a team that they're playing against in the next year or two. Again, Coach Ender as well. I love him as well. I just had to give him a quick shout out because I love that guy. He was my favorite, strength coach ever, in college. I've had amazing good ones. Coach Hicks as well, but Coach Ender and Coach Sobel too were some of the pillars for me for wanting to stay at Syracuse after I got disqualified. I'm happy that I left because they allowed me to play one more year, but the whole atmosphere, from what I've been told, is different, and that's what I don't like, and that's why I feel like you really get good recruits and good people, and not people with egos. Is you learn who they are from their families. You learn by bringing their families in, accepting them, talking to them, really understanding who the player is, and that's honestly how you can coach them. Because in my experience, I coached for a little bit, and a player's only going to do so much for you if they know you care for them. If a player thinks you don't care about them, whatever, you start to lose them, and they start to build this wall with you. And at that point, it's like talking to a brick wall. You can't get to them. They're not going to do whatever you say. They're going to do it reluctantly. They're going to start causing problems. And it's not them. It's really just you not being able to communicate and not being able to actually understand what's going on with them. And that's what I've been hearing. I don't know if that's 100% true or not because I'm not in the locker room, so I don't know. But for me, at least, that's the big difference with Coach Schaefer and his staff versus the staff right now is just the family atmosphere that I got with Coach Schaefer, and all his family knew my family by name, called them by name, always, everything. And it's a big difference, and no one really understands it, but it makes a big difference, especially in the long run, about how they make you feel, but also how they make your family feel. Let's say they offer you, make your family feel like they're, one of the best people in the whole entire world. I got offered by Florida probably 2 or 3 weeks after Syracuse. And the big reason why I did not go to Florida or Penn State or anyone like that is because of the way that I was singled out by Coach Schaefer, by Coach Doust, and made me feel like they wanted me to be a part of their family. That was the big reason why I went. That's the big reason why I think they got such good recruits, and that's what I'm hearing is different, and that's what sucks about that, because that's in my opinion one of the most important things that you can do as a coach is recruiting, but also doing it the right way.
Caring. You cannot substitute caring. You cannot fake caring forever. I mean, people eventually find out. I mean, the difference between Scott Schaefer and what it is now is Schaefer cared. Schaefer would do anything for you. I will never forget Schaefer's first win. I saw him walking outside of the dome. I'm coming out, and him and I always had a close relationship. And I said, "Congrats, Coach." He grabbed me, he hugged me, and he pulled back. He held on my shoulders. And he said, "We did it, Danny. We did it." And I'll never forget that. I mean, he hugged me the day that he got the job. And he said, "Thank you so much for coming." And I'm like, it's a press conference, Coach. Like, of course and he's like, "No, like, thank you for being here for me." And I'll never forget, I mean, talking to Missy, talking to Elsa, I still talk to Wolf. And, having that relationship. And then when he left that last day, I could not. This is, and this is where he's not just a coach. I walked outside of the dome. He was out there. The car was there. He talked to a few of us, and he gave me a hug. And then right before he got in the car again, I went to give him a hug, and he turned around. And before I could say it, he whispered in my ear, he said, "I love you, Danny." And I said, "I love you too, Coach." And I will never forget the way that he looked at me, the way he grabbed me. And I did. I walked away, and I just said, I was like, in this moment, the city I grew up in just disrespected one of the people that I appreciate the most. And I could not, for the life of me, in that moment, I tell you, if I look back on 36 years and I think about a rainy day, that's one of the worst rainy days of my life, was the day that they let Scott Schaefer go.
When that happened, when I heard the news and when he told us all and all that, and I still remember, to this day where I was at exactly, and the team meeting room was just dead silent, because everyone cared, and a lot of people say that was honestly one of Coach Schaefer's biggest weaknesses is he cared too much, and I don't really necessarily agree with that, because caring is one of the most important things you can do as a coach. But man, yeah, just hearing that story, it's classic Schaefer. That guy is a classic through and through. His family's all class act. Coach Dow's a class act. And just hearing that and just remembering, the week after that, when I first heard that he was done, and being able to beat Boston College for him in his last game, meant the world to all of his players. Just being able to send him out with a win, it was one of the most important things. I think we really played as hard as we possibly could that game to do for him, because that's what he deserved. He deserved a lot better than what Syracuse gave him. The fan base gave him for that as well, and that's what annoyed me too. Because if I'm not mistaken, I know Wild Hack was that was his first year as the AD, or second year as the AD with Syracuse. That he really didn't give him much of a chance, and that's what really bugged me, that whole situation, is they really didn't give him a chance, and that's what is stupid in my opinion. But I have my own personal opinions about all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it was tough, it was hard, and I look back on that moment, and it was actually Mark Coyle, who, it was before Wild Hack. Mark Coyle came in for 8 months. He came in, he fired Schaefer, he hired Dino, and then he left. And I just remember being like, can we have a do-over? Because obviously this guy didn't really want to be here. But, like you said, those moments, I got to ask you this question before I let you go. And for those of you waiting for Tyler Roberson, he'll be up in a second here on Wake Up Call inside the Cafe Kubal studios. But I got to ask you this. There's the notion that Schaefer did not have that locker room, that players didn't respect him. You were in that locker room. What was the locker room truly like?
So, I don't agree with that at all. Every player, in my opinion, loved Coach Schaefer. And if they had a problem with him, it's because they weren't playing. And if they weren't playing, it's because they either weren't busting their butts hard enough to do the right things to get on the field, or they just had a big ego. And that's what I've noticed in most colleges, most locker rooms. If they don't like a coach, and the coach is a good coach, and he's doing what he needs to do to win, and you just don't like him because you don't play, that's honestly what I've seen is the more problem going forward. And in today's generation, I love Coach Schaefer. Everyone that I still talk to at Syracuse, all the guys that I played with, Sterling Hoffrichter, Donnie Foster, all the guys that I played with Schaefer with, they all loved him. We all loved Coach Schaefer, and we would do anything for him. And so people say that they don't like Coach Schaefer when they were there. They probably didn't like him because he told them the truth, and the truth is you're not working hard enough. You're not doing what you need to do to be able to play, or to play meaningful time. And that's the sad reality of it, is you're always going to have people who hate certain coaches because they're not going to play, or they're not playing because they're not doing things right. And that was one of the big things when I was there, especially. You just have, been cancers on the team that if they're not getting their way, they're used to being told they're the greatest. Oh, I'm a Division I football player. Why am I not playing? They end up always pointing the blame at Coach Schaefer or their position coach. And that's what I don't agree with at all, because I've always loved Coach Schaefer, and everyone else that I've always talked to from here on out has always loved him. So I don't believe that, but I'm sure there were certain kids in there that didn't like him, didn't think he was a good coach, and all that. And I disagree. Now, maybe some of his coaching hires was kind of iffy with certain individuals. Maybe they didn't deserve to be there or whatnot, but he has 3 years. He had 3 years there. He could have easily changed the coaching staff around, like Coach Babers has done as well. So, it's just one of those things where you're going to have people that love him, you're going to have people that hate him. I always thought he did the right thing no matter what was wrong, what was right, what was a tough decision, what was not. And most of the time, the right decision was a tough decision, and he always made those decisions.
Steven Clark giving a lot of knowledge to today's broadcast on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and that's what we're here for. We're here for truth. We're here for people that actually can talk about the subject because they were there. So I appreciate, as always, we opened up so many things, Steven, so I'd love to have you back on the show as always, and we opened so many doorways here, so would definitely love to go down them and talk with you more about what we brought up today, if you'd like to come back. But I always love having you, and I thank you for all of the knowledge and wisdom you brought to Wake Up Call today inside the Cafe Kubal studios, and I really definitely I would love to talk more about a lot of these subjects because you brought up a lot of things that I think are important.
Yes, sir. I'd love to be back on, man. You just let me know when.
All right,
I appreciate you for having me.
As always, Steven. That's Steven Clark, once again, D lineman for Syracuse history. Steven, as always, I appreciate you. I respect you. And, it means a lot to me because you go beyond being a football player to me, and you know that.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
All right. Take care. Have a good day.
You as well.
Thank you. That coming from Steven Clark here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we spin back around, we will be joined by the one and only Tyler Roberson to speak on Syracuse basketball then and now, right after this. From inside the Cafe Kubal studios, this is Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Avicolli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicolli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicolli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours. by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. We're inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios in Cafe Kubal, located at 3501 James Street, 401 South Salina Street, 208 North Townsend Street, all in Syracuse, in downtown Syracuse, inside of Galisanos Children's Hospital, and of course at 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road in North Syracuse, aka Sweetheart Corners, with their drive-through location. Perfect for this time of year to grab your coffee, tea, chai, whatever you want to get. Grab it and go, as well as their awesome breakfast sandwiches, all of their meals throughout the day, and that chocolate chip banana bread and everything you can get right there, right by the highway, right by downtown Syracuse, Destiny USA, and the airport. Head out to the newest Cafe Kubal today at the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road. With that being said, of our trio of Syracuse guests today, we started with Rob Drummond. We just had Steven Clark, and now we'll switch from the field to the court here inside of MonPawsPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', and bring you Tyler Roberson, Syracuse Orange men's basketball alum. Very happy, as always, to have Tyler on the show. I covered him his entire time that he was at Syracuse, and now I have the privilege, after he has moved on from Syracuse, to continue to talk to Tyler, and means the world to me that he comes on the show and that we get to spend some time, because I always respected him back then and I respect him now. So let's bring him into the broadcast. Tyler, how are we doing today?
I'm good. Can't complain. Oh, well.
So, with everything going on here with Tyler Roberson this morning, Jim Boeheim is somebody, obviously, that's synonymous with Syracuse. Did you ever think that there would be a world where there was 972 Boeheims in Syracuse? I mean, there's Jimmy, there's Buddy, there's Jim. What are your thoughts on watching a Syracuse game and seeing three people that look alike, and seeing Jim on the sideline and seeing Buddy and Jimmy out there at the same time?
It's different. I didn't get a chance to play with, obviously, Buddy or Jimmy, but watching from TV and seeing those two play, and because I'm coaching them, I know for him personally it's probably really exciting and something he probably has always had as a vision when they were growing up. So for him and the team and other guys, I'm pretty sure they get along well and have some pretty nice chemistry, especially those three. But watching, it's cool. It's interesting. I enjoy always watching Syracuse basketball as being like
when we look at where the world is right now, Tyler, you didn't really live in this world because it's kind of blown up like crazy, and things have changed over the last couple of years in a big way. There has been transferring in history, but with the transfer portal, Kadari Richmond, Matt Moyer, to Woody Newton and Jalen Carey, and the list just goes on and on and on. And Quincy Guerrier, since you left Syracuse, they have consistently lost players. In this past season, they lost numerous players to the transfer portal that were able to go anywhere and play immediately. How have you been assessing the transfer portal, because it really went crazy right after you finished up?
Yeah, actually, I had an idea that a lot of guys have been transferring, but you probably just named like 2 or 3 guys that I had no idea about, and I'm sure there's maybe even some more. So it's been crazy, but I think that players are just trying to do what's best for them at the end of the day, and especially if they have an opportunity to not sit out, go play right away. It's their college career, and if they feel that's what, I think they should be allowed that opportunity. So it's been crazy. I mean, like you said, it wasn't like this at all while I was playing, but just whether it be watching or just like looking over the transfer portal, just college basketball in general, I feel like has changed so much from when I had left, from NCAA rules and different things like that. So it's just been a lot to kind of keep up with, but definitely seems like it's just been hectic in that college basketball world for sure.
I mean, I guess when you look at this, Tyler, is do you think it's the right thing? You know, with you being a former Division I college basketball player and being at a very high level at Syracuse, do you think this transfer portal is helping or hurting the game with the ease of ability to really, be on 4 teams in 4 years or 3 teams in 4 years? I mean, how do you assess it as a player? Do you think, hey, this is great for us, this is awesome, or do you think it kind of maybe prevents a player from working hard or developing themselves? How do you look at it?
I think for the player, I think it's personally good. I think it has its positives and its negatives, but I think for the player, you only get 4 years of eligibility to play college basketball. So if you feel like you're not in the right situation, I think you should be allowed that opportunity to go and do what's best for you personally. But then there is the argument, like you said, you should have to maybe stick it out and figure it out and work harder and earn your playing time or whatever it is that you're looking for, that you transferred out for to begin with. So just being a former player and a Division I player, like you said, at that level, I think that it's best for the players. I think they just should kind of go over their situation, and if they feel like it's what's best for them at the end of the day, then I think it's a good thing. Because like I was saying earlier, you only get 4 years to do it. So yeah, it goes by quick, and you should do what's best for you.
That coming here from Tyler Roberson, Syracuse Orange Basketball alum, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Cubal studios. Tyler, Jim Boeheim is a unique coach. He will call out his players in press conferences. You've been a part of that, where he said things about you publicly and whatnot. Do you think his coaching style works in today's America, in your opinion?
Yeah. That's a really good question. I think that he's definitely a coach who's had success, and even now, I know Syracuse isn't doing what they're used to doing past, but I think he just kind of is Coach Boeheim, and that's what makes him Coach Boeheim. He just has his coaching style and his personality, and I think that's how he kind of got to where he is now. And whether I agree with it or not, I think it's just, it's what made him, or what makes him him at the end of the day. So, that's all I can really say about that. I think he's always going to be Coach Boeheim, if that makes any sense, without really going into too much detail about it. And I don't think he's really ever going to, I don't want to say change. I think that he's had success with what he's doing, and even now he's having some success. But I think maybe the team just has to figure it out. And like we were saying earlier, there's a lot of transfers, so maybe they just have to kind of adapt to his coaching style or get more chemistry and just learn the system better at Coach Boeheim's system. But I think it can work. Yeah, I think the game is evolving and changing different ways. Not to say that Syracuse or Coach Boeheim isn't, but I think it just doesn't help when you have a ton of new players and things like that coming in, if that answers the question. But I think they will or can figure out for sure.
Does his tough love coaching style that you experienced, do you think that works with today's players, though? Do you think, calling out a player in a public press conference when it's so easy to transfer? I feel like, I don't want to say that there's a softness now, but I feel like if a player's attacked publicly, they're like, well, whatever, I'm just going to transfer. So, do you think that his style of, hey, if I don't like what you're doing, I'm going to tell the world I don't like it, do you think that works in today's world where players can transfer so easily?
No, it definitely doesn't work in today's world. I don't know if it really, I don't know if too many players would ever really agree with it, but now in today's game, you can obviously just transfer out if you disagree with it. So it definitely doesn't benefit the coaches when it comes to, I guess, upsetting the players, because they have that option to just leave, like we were talking about earlier. So I personally don't think it benefits, obviously, the coach on that end, because if the player has that option to just up and leave rather than sticking it out. So, yeah.
That coming from Tyler Roberson, Syracuse Orange men's basketball alum here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. I'm going to ask you this because you've been playing overseas and, you've obviously continued to play the sport that you love, this beautiful sport of basketball. Does the 2-3 zone, playing that and only that and no man and no 3-2 and no other defense and whatnot, do you think it hindered you in gaining respect professionally and getting a job? Does playing strictly the 2-3 zone hinder you as far as selling yourself professionally? Do you think it hurt you in any way?
It personally didn't affect me on the court when I was playing. I feel like, you play pickup basketball, whether it be at Syracuse or when you go home in the summer or just playing one-on-one or 2-on-2 after practice. So it's something that I think anybody that plays for Syracuse and has played for Syracuse can do, but I think there is maybe some sort of like notion that since you play zone, like people from the outside world are just like you were saying, maybe basketball. So not everybody, certain basketball scouts or coaches may kind of just have that in their head already. That you may not know how to be in certain spots on defense or do certain things in a man-to-man defense. So I have witnessed that personally, but has it actually affected me? No. Like I was saying before, I know how to play man-to-man. I was playing man-to-man before Syracuse, even at Syracuse in practice or when I go home in the summer. So if that answers your question. Yeah.
And I think, and this is an argument that I make, and I know there's a difference, and this for playing for him. There's a difference between what makes sense and what Boeheim's going to do. Sometimes it makes sense, and he does that. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, and he does that. But the notion that you guys know how to play man-to-man, because, I grew up playing basketball organized from 7 years old on. And granted, I'm 5'8". I wasn't going to D1, but I can shoot. I got to look at D3. I had opportunity there to potentially do something. And so for me, what I learned, because I had to play all the defenses. I had to play 2-3, 3-2. We had to play 1-3-1. We had to play man. When you grow up as a little kid and you're learning the sport of basketball, man is the easiest thing to teach because as a coach, you just say, hey, you see that guy over there? Yeah, don't let him get the ball. Don't let him shoot. Don't let him score. So, I guess for me, what I struggle with is fans always say, why don't they switch to man for a couple minutes and whatnot? And, the reality is Boeheim doesn't have to teach you man, because if you don't know how to guard an individual, that's like the basic fundamental of basketball that's like one of the baselines that they teach you. So, are you surprised that you guys never could flip into man? Do you think that, it's kind of a two-part question. Are you surprised you never switched into man at all? And two, do you think playing man-to-man maybe would have helped you guys get farther in the tournament?
To answer the first part of the question, no, I'm not surprised that we've never played man. Even before going to Syracuse, I don't think they've ever played man-to-man. And even when I got there, when we prepare for teams, it'd always be in the zone. Obviously, you make changes to that zone depending on who the other team has, but it never really surprised me. I never really expected to play man while there or even before going to Syracuse. Sorry, what was the second part of the question?
Do you think that being able to switch into man-to-man would have maybe helped you guys get farther in the tournament? Like, would that man-to-man defense, if you came out of the 2-3 zone against certain teams in the tournament, do you think you would have had a better chance?
It's a really good question. I think it just depends. I think that we were definitely capable of playing man-to-man because the zone isn't easy to play, obviously. So to play the zone, you have to be capable of playing man-to-man. So I think we had the athletes to do it and the right players. But I think if we practiced it and maybe switched it up, I think it could have definitely benefited us. I don't think it would have hurt us at all. But that's just kind of something that I guess we'll never know, in my opinion. Yeah, I think it definitely would help or would have benefited us to switch it up. But I think if it's working, like if we're playing 2-3 and it's working, why switch it up? So if it's working and it's going well,
yeah,
no need to. But I guess it just kind of depends on the other team and if something's not working, then maybe switch it up. But as far as I remember, our defense was pretty good while I was there on that side of things. So I'm sure there were games where we struggled, but the zone, I've always liked playing in that zone. So for me personally, it was cool.
Yeah, I mean, and for you, I mean, I think one of the biggest questions, and I think that this is something that like I hang on because I don't think people really get who you were at Syracuse and who you are, is you're a good rebounder, and rebounding in man-to-man is different than rebounding in the zone, and because you're not guarding a man, you're guarding a space, and so, for me, I would love for you to give your take on rebounding, and if you're a better rebounder than maybe people think that you are because of the zone or whatever it may be. I just want to jump into the rebounding world because, people would say, Tyler Roberson gets 20 rebounds against Duke and then he gets, 3 against Georgia Tech. What happened? So I'd love for you to go into it since you're Tyler Roberson. So I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of my rebounds at Syracuse, I think they came on the offensive end. I probably get more offensive rebounds than defensive rebounds than I did. And like you said, in the zone, you're more so covering a space. So on the defensive end, I would have to kind of not hope that the ball came to me. You can obviously go get it, but you had to cover that part of your zone. So it's more so if it came to your area. And on the offensive end, it was more so to me, just like, do you want the ball more than the next person? So I would just be pursuing the ball. And I think just naturally I'm a better offensive rebounder than I am defensively, but I think that there definitely maybe could have been more defensive rebounds if I was in a man-to-man, and I say that now just because playing professionally and playing man-to-man, strictly pretty much man-to-man, I get more defensive rebounds than I did playing in the zone. So that's how I feel about it. I think it was just it was more natural to me to just pursue the ball on the offensive end as opposed to covering my space in the zone, and the ball may come to me 2 or 3 times a game on the defensive end as opposed to on the offensive end. I'm literally going after every miss. If that makes sense.
So when you were playing in the zone at Syracuse, it was more of like your spacing and the ball coming to you. Were you not? Are you told to to stay in a spot and not attack, the basket, so to speak? I mean, how did Boeheim teach you how to rebound in the zone?
I think a lot of it was just more so just having a feel for if somebody was kind of in your area, you may box them out, but you don't really, or from what I remember, he didn't really tell us to box out in the zone, like you kind of just rebound in your area. Obviously, if somebody's there, you kind of have to block them out, but you don't go and turn around and try to box somebody out maybe from the free throw line like you would in a man-to-man defense. So just covering your area and kind of making sure that if the ball does come to your space, then you're just getting the ball. Do what you have to do, whether it is kind of boxing your man out somewhat, or if he's in your close by to you, or it's kind of having a feel for it and you just get used to it over time. It's pretty hard to explain, but just being in the zone and practicing it and actually getting game reps, you just kind of get a feel for rebounding in that zone.
Yeah, you said it right there, because I always look at the game and I say, why does Syracuse not box out? You just gave it to me, Tyler. It's sad, but it's true. And so, but he just brought it here. But that's one thing I always look at is why is there no boxing out? But speaking here with Tyler Roberson, Syracuse Orange men's basketball alum, on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Tyler, we got some fans giving their thoughts here. Ricky P. said, miss his efforts on the boards. Wish we had someone like him on the current team, as what he said about you. Mike W. said, Boeheim blew it not giving Tyler more playing time early in his career. His short bench has hurt the program over the years. So, I wanted you to have those couple messages here this morning, because I feel like when you play at Syracuse, the fans love you and then they hate you 5 minutes later. So I wanted to remind you that there are people that miss you.
I appreciate you saying that with me. It means a lot. I appreciate it.
So I mean, it's and I mean, there's the atmosphere that you played in, before I let you go, I mean, 30,000 fans, man, if they were pissed at the way you were playing, they might boo you at home. They might love you at home. I mean, how would you describe the Syracuse fans?
Syracuse fans, wow, I think that they definitely are passionate about their sports, definitely basketball. And you definitely realize that the minute you step on campus. I think that you kind of have a sense of it, like when you visit and you're just kind of going to the games and talking to even the players. But like when you actually get there and you're playing, and like you were saying, you may be getting booed or they may be cheering for you the next minute. It's just like a realization. So I think that the fans are definitely passionate. And I mean, if you're competitive and playing at a high level, I think that's just what comes with it, playing at a high division or higher division level. I think that fans, for the most part, at any school are going to be passionate. But Syracuse fans, from what I've experienced, are definitely really passionate about their basketball. And if you're not playing well, you'll know it. And if you are playing well, you'll definitely know it. So, yeah.
Hey, coming from Tyler Roberson here. Tyler, before I let you go, name, image, and likeness is something that I would love to dive into a little bit deeper with you in a future show, and we'll go to that in a second. But I want to ask you this question. Since you came to Syracuse, Marek Dolezaj wore the number 21. Big fan of Marek. And after Marek now, Cole Swider's wearing it. How do you feel that the number 21 has been worn since you left?
I mean, Marek, he was obviously a talented player. So I think he did a really good job of doing what he had to at Syracuse. So just from watching the games, I don't have anything bad to say about him. And I'm sure he's a really good person. But just watching him from a basketball standpoint, he was a really, probably still, I'm sure he still plays. He's a talented basketball player. And Cole Swider, I obviously said I think I've seen like one or two Syracuse games at that. So I seen he had one big game, and I'm sure he's a talented player. He wouldn't be at Syracuse if he wasn't. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. But from what I've seen so far, he's a good player for sure.
And your final thought, and we'll get to a deeper part of this later on when we have you back on the show, but name, image, and likeness, you didn't get to have it as a player, but if you were at Syracuse right now, I guess my question to you is, what do you think about name, image, and likeness is number one? Number two, would you have gotten involved? Could we have seen Tyler Roberson holding a Snickers bar, saying, quench your hunger and whatnot? Would we see Tyler Roberson with a bottle of Sprite? Would we see, Tyler Roberson with the local, law firm and whatnot? I mean, will we get that, that cheesy smile and you with a catchphrase? What would Tyler Roberson have been involved in name, image, and likeness?
That was the second part of your question.
Yeah.
What was the first part? I'm sorry.
The first part of it is, what do you think about it in general, the fact that it exists now?
I think it's good. Like, I definitely kind of answered the second part of your question. I wish it was a thing while I was playing. But I think it's good for the players. Like I was saying, they should be able to get the most out of their college basketball career, whether it be having the option to transfer or get something out of their name. So I think it's a really good thing for college basketball players or college athletes in general. And as far as me doing that, yeah, I definitely would. I don't know too many college players that wouldn't take advantage of that. So yeah, I would be, like you said, cheesing with a Sprite bottle or whatever. Like I would definitely take advantage of my name while I was in school.
I love it. You know what? We're gonna have to. Maybe we got to do some video production and make some things for you, Tyler. Maybe we got to set you up. You find a company, and then on my side of it, we'll put some things together. We'll have some catchphrases. We'll have some fun with it, because I'd love to see what a Tyler Roberson commercial would look like.
Definitely, that would be cool for sure.
So that coming from Tyler Roberson. Tyler, as always, I appreciate it. Thank you for being so candid and so open and honest. Thank you for your time. And thank you for your hard work, effort, and enthusiasm. Let me say it on the show over and over and over again. He is such a better rebounder than you all will give him credit for. And, I'm so happy fans woke up this morning saying I miss Tyler Roberson, because I do too. So, I definitely respect and appreciate you, man. And thank you for all that you do. And thank you for working so hard. And, people look at wins and losses. They look at doubles and this, that, and whatever. They don't always look at the person. And you have always made time for me. And, when you were at Syracuse and after being at Syracuse. So I want to say above all things, thank you for making time for me, for the show, and thanks for being a friend. And know that I'm always in your corner and I'm always hoping the best for you.
Yeah, no, thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot. And I appreciate you having me on the show again. And, if you ever want me to come back on, I'd be more than happy to do that. But I appreciate you having me on again.
Absolutely, man. When we break down this name, image, and likeness, I have to have you back, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, take care of yourself. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Take care. That coming from Tyler Roberson one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. We'll take a step aside for a final fast break inside the Cafe Kubal studios. After this trio of fantastic guests, we'll wrap up the show with the ingredients to success right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Cafe Cabal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafecubal.com. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpassnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Here at Progressive Dental, we understand the importance of regular dental visits and preventive care. Cleanings and checkups are essential to good oral health. We have multiple locations in the Southern Tier, so come visit us in Binghamton, Enwell, Kirkwood, Montrose, and Norwich. For self-pay non-insured patients, we offer the Smile Plan, which covers all of your cleanings, x-rays, and exams for an affordable yearly price. Call 607-754-2273 or 607-754-CARE to make an appointment today. For more information, visit our website at progressivedentalny.com.
The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you make your way out to the Millhouse Market every Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and every Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. to have their general store with local products from local companies, as well as to go inside their indoor dining and, of course, their drive-through pickup window to grab your food and go. Ingrained in our community and ingrained in our taste buds, the Millhouse Market shows you how much they care about the history of Central and Upstate New York and of Pulaski in general, naming their sandwiches after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski. So not only does it taste good, but it's connected to our history and it's connected to our families. So thank you for everything that you do, Millhouse Market, to truly be unique and truly find a way into all of our hearts. The Millhouse Market, 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, worth the drive every time. With that being said, final portion of today's show and every Tuesday broadcast are the ingredients to success, proudly brought to you by Avicolli's on the corner of Route 11 and Route 57 and Wetzel Road. That is Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. Right down the road from Liverpool High School, you will find the wonderful Avicolli's, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. They have the pizza casual side, the fine dining side, their bar, as well as takeout, delivery, and catering. So many different ways to link up with Avicolli's and support local, and I want to thank everybody that has, especially during these very difficult last 19 months for all of us. So a big shout out to Avicolli's and a shout out to the community for treating Avicolli so very well. You can call them at 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. And of course, you can call them, or pardon me, go online to myavicollis.com and order online as well. That's myavicollis.com. And of course, you can go to the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, and support them there by going on-site on location. The Ingredients to Success, brought to you by Avicolli's every single Tuesday to round out the show, has to do with a topic that changes every single week, and I have the opportunity to bring you that topic today. And so the topic for the Ingredients to Success today is caring about, I don't want to say controlling the controllables because I've utilized that before. So I'm going to say the topic today is being who you are in the eye of the storm. Being who you are in the eye of the storm. Sometimes our families try to hold us back. Sometimes our friends try to hold us back. Sometimes the people we love the most try to tell us what to do. Sometimes the people that we love the most try to impose control on our lives. Sometimes the people that we love the most don't always love us back well. So what do you do when you don't know which end is up? Well, I always pray. I pray. I trust myself. I sit with myself and I think about things. And to the best of my ability, I give everything I can. Life isn't perfect, but I can tell you something. You got to be your own best friend. You got to be there for yourself. You want your husband to be there. You want your wife to be there. That you want your best friend to be there. You want your mom and your dad to be there. But it doesn't always happen. You have to be your own best friend. You have to be the one that you can rely on the most because you're the one that's always with you. In the dark, in the craziness, in all those days and all those nights, you are the one that's there. You and God, the two of you. You got to trust yourself. I love my loved ones. And they have their own life. When push comes to shove, I have to know that I'm going to come through for me. I know God's going to come through for me. But I got to come through for me too. It's not easy. It's not easy. But learning to know who you are, love who you are, support who you are, and take care of who you are, that is where success comes in. That is true love. When you know when you're wrong and you know when you're right, you apologize when you're wrong, you stand firm when you know that what you feel is right, what you know is right, and you do the best you can every single second. This world will change you for the better or it could change you for the worse. It's your duty to know the difference, to know what you're letting in and what you're keeping out. Sometimes we keep out the wrong things. Sometimes we let in the wrong things. Sometimes we bring in the right things. Sometimes we get rid of the right things to get rid of. We don't always make perfect choices. That's why life is life. But if I can impart anything on you today in the Ingredients to Success, it's to love yourself, love others, and do the best you can. And don't ever let anybody take your light away. With that being said, I hope you have a fantastic day. Be safe, stay well. Thank you to Steven Clark, Rob Drummond, and Tyler Roberson, my guests. Thank you to all of you for listening and watching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life, every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, and the homepage of wakeupcalldt.com is where you're listening, you're watching on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and facebook.com/live-now. DT. You can search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Stitcher, TuneIn, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Spotify, MixLR, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. And, of course, a big thanks to all of our Central and Upstate New York partners, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Progressive Dental, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Avicolli's, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Pizza Man, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Millhouse Market, Lemoyne Dolphins, Honda City of Liverpool, PB&J's Lunchbox, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, and Mother's Cover. So thank you all for being a part of the show. Of course, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is a proud multimedia marketing partner of the Lemoyne Dolphins. Find all of our videos every Wednesday live at 9 a.m. on all of our channels that I just gave you. And, of course, find them on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. As always, fins up. And, of course, find our weekly Pacer Pride Marywood University Pacers specials brought to you in our multimedia marketing partnership with Marywood University. You can find out more by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. And, of course, go to the Marywood tab on wakeupcalldt.com and the Lemoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com. Have a great day, and as always, God bless, no stress, do your best. I'll talk with you all soon. Please be well, please be good, please stay safe, and I can't wait to talk with you.